And we are on. We say all praises be to the Creator, all power to His people. In the name of Yahshua, the Black Revolutionary Messiah, I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the spirit of truth and the words of peace. Shalom Aleichem. Giving a special salute to the Black Messiahs. Our motto is, stop waiting for a Savior and be one. Stop waiting for a Savior and be one. Tonight, I want to address an issue that people in Durham are talking about. They're talking about the secret meetings that our mayor, Elaine O'Neill, is involved in, and members of the city council are involved in, to stop the violence in Durham, to stop the shootings in Durham. That's the purpose. But some of us have a problem with that strategy. Some of us have a problem with that strategy because it's secret meetings that got the black community in the condition that it is right now. We are in the condition we're in because of secret government meetings. So secret government meetings are not the answer. Because if you're having secret government meetings, exactly who are you keeping it a secret from? Should the mayor of a city be involved in secret meetings and not talking to the press and not keeping their community informed? No! Your job, they elected you to be the representative to all of Durham, to be transparent. See, politicians like to talk about being transparent. We're going to be transparent. We're going to let everybody know what's going on. So how are you going to have secret meetings and be transparent at the same time? Now, the reason why Mayor O'Neill gave about having the meetings, I guess with gangs, I'm assuming, with the streets, is because the people she's dealing with don't trust the government. Well, on my side of the fence, we don't trust the government either. We don't trust the government either, and there are reasons for that. There are reasons for that. Historically, the government has worked to destroy black leaders. Historically, the government has worked to destroy black leaders. Paul Robeson, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they have historically worked to destroy black leaders. So why should we trust people, a government, who has worked to destroy black people, to take down black leaders, the Black Panthers, and all of them? Let's start with Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey organized around 10 million black people. 10 million black people, made them proud to be black. The government started a campaign and eventually they deported Marcus Garvey, kicked him out the country. Why do we don't trust the government? They have spied on black leaders. They have spied on black leaders. According to a March 21, 1993 edition of the Memphis Commercial Appeal, Joel Spingard, one of the early white leaders of the NAACP, worked for Military Intelligence Division of the United States Army, and it obtained a list of 32,000 members of the Association of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. In other words, Joel Spingard, who was one of the leaders of the NAACP, one of the white leaders, because most of the leaders of the NAACP early leaders until way on were white. Most of the founders were white. On behalf of the United States Army, the Military Intelligence Division, he spied on the NAACP. Why we don't trust the government to have secret meetings? Our leaders, we talked about Garvey, Malcolm X. Malcolm X was spied upon by the government. Different agencies, CIA, State Department, Bureau of Special Services in New York, BOSSI, all of them spied on Malcolm X. Read this book, Judas Factor, The Plot to Kill Malcolm X by Carl Evans. By Carl Evans. The FBI, the New York City Police Department, spied on Malcolm X. The FBI tried to turn Malcolm X and make him snitch on the Nation of Islam. There's a tape where Malcolm X taped the conversation. Again, the book, The Judas Factor, The Plot to Kill Malcolm X by Carl Evans. Also, Claiborne Carlson put out a book called Malcolm X, The FBI Files. You can read about all the files that the FBI had on Malcolm X. Why we don't trust the government. Martin Luther King, as nonviolent as Martin Luther King, as much as they say they love Martin Luther King, the government, the FBI, spied on Martin Luther King. Read this book, Who Killed Martin Luther King, by James Earl Ray, the man they claim killed him. But on the front page of this book, the Reverend Jesse Jackson is quoted as saying, I have always believed the government was part of a conspiracy either directly or indirectly to assassinate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I didn't say that. That's coming from Reverend Jesse Jackson on the cover of Who Killed Martin Luther King Jr., the true story behind the alleged assassin, James Earl Ray. Let me read that again. According to Reverend Jesse Jackson, I have always believed that the government was part of a conspiracy either directly or indirectly to assassinate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We don't trust government secret meetings, family. They also, they spied on a lot of black folks. The government spied on a lot of black folks. Kenneth O'Reilly has a book. They spied on James Baldwin, W.B. Du Bois, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr., Paul Robeson, Bayard Rustin, Malcolm X, and others. They kept files on our black leaders, and a lot of our black leaders mysteriously died. So even though they kept files on our leaders, they might say that, well, we didn't have anything to do with the murder. You were watching them so close, how did they get assassinated? Why we don't trust the government. You can talk about the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party. They worked to destroy the Black Panther Party through COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program by J. Edgar Hoover, who said his purpose for the counterintelligence program, their spy program, was to prevent the rise of a black messiah who could unite the black community or electrify black youth. They wanted to prevent the rise of, it says messiah, but they really meant the rise of a black messiah. FBI. Why we don't trust the government. And those secret meetings y'all be having. Now, one thing they really don't talk about is the Ghetto Informant Program. The Ghetto Informant Program. There used to be, in the 60s, an operation by the FBI called the Ghetto Informant Program. Read this book, Kenneth O'Reilly's other book, Racial Matters. It talks about the Ghetto Informants Program, where the FBI hired at least 7,500 known ghetto informants who would go around the hood digging up dirt on black militants. It was called the Ghetto Informant Program. They would go into the hood and recruit street cats to snitch on the Black Power people, like the Black Panthers and the rest of them. It was called the Ghetto Informant Program. And they hired some of everybody. Kenneth O'Reilly in his book said they hired tavern and liquor store owners, drugstore owners, pawn shops, candy stores, barber shops, ghetto businesses, veterans, janitors of apartment buildings, newspaper people, newspaper carriers, food and beverage distributors, taxi drivers, bill collectors, salesmen, black bookstores. They hired everybody under their Ghetto Informant Program to snitch on people in the hood to make sure they wouldn't get too militant. Why we do not trust the government. In the hip-hop era, they had a organization. They had police officers to spy on rappers. Read this book, Notorious C.O.P. by Derek Parker. These rappers, who some of them mysteriously died, they were being surveyed by the police. Also, this book, The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders, by John Patosh, talks about how they had surveillance not only on Tupac, but other black leaders as well. So even in the hip-hop era, you see where they use intelligence to spy on rappers, especially those who they thought would be too militant. Especially those who they thought would become too militant. You got to wonder, with all these, the COINTELPRO program helped get rid of Malcolm X. They helped get rid of Martin Luther King. They helped get rid of many of our black leaders. They helped get rid of, under their COINTELPRO program, the Black Panthers. They almost entirely wiped the Black Panther, destroyed the Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers. But yet, the gangs are still here. They wiped out the Black Panthers in a matter of years. Richard Nixon, FBI, wiped out the Black Panthers, but they ain't wiped out the gangs. Why is that? Why is that? Another reason we don't trust the government. They talk about, oh, we got to do something with drugs, and we got to do something about drugs in the community. But they never tell you how the drugs and the guns got in the black community in the first place. There's a book called Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. And he talked about how the CIA, the government, either helped put drugs in the early 1980s inside of Los Angeles because they needed money to fund a war, the Iran-Contra war. They needed money to fund a war that they technically weren't supposed to be involved in, but they needed money to fund that war, that operation. So to get the money, because they couldn't legally get it from the government because it was secret covert, again, those secret meetings, it was a secret covert operation. So they needed money, a way to raise money. So according to Gary Webb in his book, Dark Alliance, and you can also watch that movie, it's called To Kill a Messenger. I think it's on Netflix, To Kill a Messenger. In order to get money, they either allowed or they sold drugs themselves inside of South Central Los Angeles. And then it spread across the country. Now, it's been hard to prove that the CIA actually used their people to put drugs in Los Angeles in the early 80s. But what has not been hard to prove is that the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, the government, was compliant in letting drugs get into South Central Los Angeles. And they just looked the other way. That's easily provable. So, when you have Mayor O'Neill and members of the city council saying they're having secret meetings, that's why we don't trust that. Durham, while our babies are dying in the street, do you want government officials to be having secret meetings? Because one reason they have secret meetings is to keep you out of it. Grassroots activists, have y'all been invited to those secret meetings? Have y'all, those grassroots activists who are in the street every day, talking to the streets, have y'all been invited to those secret meetings? We don't want the mayor of our city doing anything secret. It has to be out in the open. The people of Durham deserve transparency. The people of Durham deserve transparency. Everything that's been done negative to the black community has been done in secret meetings. The destruction of black leaders, secret meetings. Drugs being put in the black community, secret meetings. Some say the destruction of hip-hop, secret meetings. All this has been done by secret meetings. So when you see the mayor of Durham and the city council saying secret meetings, we don't trust that. We demand full accountability, full transparency, and full accountability. Because when people say they're having secret meetings, they can always say, well, we're working on the problem. Y'all just don't know anything about it because it's a secret. Anytime you ask them, well, where's the $1 million you spending on fighting the guns and bullets and steel? They spent millions of dollars in Durham to stop the violence, and the violence still happens. See, but when they say they're having secret meetings, all they got to do is say, well, I can't tell you because it's a secret. They must think we're stupid. These politicians in Durham must think we are stupid. So share this video, y'all. Share this video, y'all. The people of Durham demand transparency. Don't be hiding stuff from us. Don't be hiding stuff from us. Because just like they don't trust the government, you say the street people don't trust the government, we don't trust the government either, especially grassroots activists. So, as always, we leave with the Black Messiah motto: stop waiting for a savior and be one.